G'day everyone and welcome to this week's edition of the Melbourne Pro Punters panel. As usual, Darren Potter,
Anthony Jupp,
Thank
you very much. Our special guest, Dan Kelly.
Sorry,
I didn't
like a cameo.
or as he's better known as, the master of the project that is Gift of Music. Well done, DK. Another winter in the week. So
Another one, mate. That was
well done.
Very special.
And more significantly, I mean, we know his racing knowledge. Did I see a bit of TV critiquing on by you on Twitter on Sunday night? 60 minutes. How fucking cast is that show?
Oh, mate. I was sitting there watching that, whatever it was, they're flying blokes to Hawaii to confront some bloke about PNG war relics, and then I was sort of sitting out a pot from them, and then they had this another 50 minutes on a bloke in makeup, like Napoleon purred this or something. This is just shocking. I mean, this used to be the best current affairs show.
Best, yeah.
You know.
Well, anyone
Having a red wine, were you, DK?
Yeah, I was on the second bottle.
Anyone out there, our followers, that are on Twitter, if you see DK getting a bit active on Twitter on a Sunday night, it's a good time to have a bit of fun with him, I reckon.
He will bite. He will bite.
Yeah. And anyone who took the millions Napoleon Purtis getting mentioned on this show, formidably you to collect, but I don't think he's going to be that long. Boys, there's been a fair bit happening, as usual. Potts has broken out the shorts because the weather's starting to warm up a little bit here. Some rain coming later in the week, but we're back to Flemington for Mackay Diva Day off. A much better crowd. You came out for a little while there on Saturday, DK to Moonee Valley. There was a few more people kicking around there than what there had been.
Particularly out the front. I mean, no one's near the betting ring, of course. Betting ring's in the Brasco, and the people are all out in the front. That's what we're used to. But I was out there with the little fella, and yeah, it was great. There's no footy on, so they've got a bit of a crowd, but plenty of young people, plenty of families. There's some good racing. It's great, Moonee Valley, because it's close and it's an amphitheatre. But yeah, no, it was.
But 98% of the wagering, DK, goes through the off-course operators. So
yeah, that's right.
So it doesn't matter about the ones at the back. They're irrelevant. No one cares.
Well, they're even less relevant after what kicked in during the week, with the VOP.
Yeah, hold that. I just want to, because we're here to talk about issues and give our opinions and be fitting, but don't want to let this one go without a big tick to Moonee Valley. I didn't go. I hardly even go down the races unless you want to give me a good corporate in. But free admission if you turn up with your AFL members ticket
or MCC or club membership.
Common sense.
Yeah.
If you on the day of footy Saturday, well done. I hope it worked for them. I don't care because I didn't go myself. But
their marketing departments being a well manned, and they've got some good racing guys there. Benny Spall and Alex and those guys. So
they've got an idea of what everyone.
Sorry to butt in, but I thought that was an important thing. You should acknowledge it. That's really
the racing clubs, instead of charging people to get in, they not only should let them in for free, they should give them a free ticket for the next meeting as well. You know what I mean? That's it.
Yeah, well, I rocked up at race 5 or something. I said I'll just bring in a little fella out for an hour or two to watch the Queen or whatnot. Yeah, 20. Give us 20. I don't know. I'm not a member of an AFL club, but give us 20. You know. Yeah. Well, I might be a member. I might. If Isaac likes going now and he's old enough to.
You live close to the valley, don't you?
Live close to the valley, so I might get a membership. They're only 160 or something, but I thought they might have said, "Oh, it's 50 race."
Especially by that stage.
But anyway.
But that's just we could do 2 episodes on green coats at race courses. We won't get into that. But Thursday was the first day of the VOP, the Victorian Official Price, which replaced the APN. So the flux now come off an average of 6 corporate prices displayed on dynamic, minus Palmer Bernard part of it because they're not on dynamic, and Classic Bernard part of it for fairly obvious reasons to anyone who has a bet.
So what is it? An average of the 6? Is that what they're saying? So they're
an average of the 6 one people can get on with, is it?
Pretty much, yeah. But it's across most of those that you see.
So is it across? Is 6 of 8, or is it 6 an average of
6? And they probably, I'd assume they take the outliers out and whatever.
That's what I said. I thought they'd be TAB, TATS, Crown Bet Sports, Top Sport, and maybe one other.
We throw 365 or Ladbrokes or
possibly.
But I think even mobs like Unibet and those ones that are also on there are probably in the mix.
Yeah.
So it was interesting. It was
not Betfair.
No, and not Betfair. But the
should be part of the information.
Not for that.
Not a fluck.
Not a fluck that it's controlled by one person can organise.
And the other thing with Betfair is especially like during the week, like some Saturdays it might be alright, but like I was at Pakenham on Thursday, like
there's zero.
They're kicking the VOP kicks in 25 minutes out, and the liquidity in the market was
zero till 5 minutes.
So we've had a week, DK. Have you noticed anything significant?
I've noticed a few things.
I haven't really, because I I don't. It doesn't really affect. I've never really bet top flight. I've never really watched on-course price. Once I was at home, I sit there and watch Dynamic.
Yeah.
But I spoke to Big Trev this morning. He's noticed big changes, and he's been monitoring for the week for those sort of guys. And I think they're quite positive about it. After thinking a week, I thought it might be much good. Might affect their top flight and things like that. But I think it's going to work out with people getting better prices. I think.
Yeah, especially once the minimum bet rule.
So just so our viewers know, Big Trev's Trevor Lawson, who offers a similar service to me. He sells it through Champion Picks. He's a good fella.
And a very good man.
Yeah.
He's a friend of the show.
Friend of the show.
He'll be here on the.
Yeah, so that's what we're about to mention.
So we do things a bit differently to the SEN Saturday morning boys with the off the bench.
Yeah.
Because if you're a friend of the show, you're not a friend of the show.
No. The friend of the shows here are actually friends of ours.
Right.
Yeah. So it's not a pot.
I won't send a pick, so okay, throw us. Make the list. He said you don't want to make that list.
So no, we've gone the other way. Right. So we're going to have a bit of a get together here at the All Nations with the Recreational Punter Society on Sunday the 25th to celebrate the incoming minimum bet rule, which comes in on October 1. So if you fancy it, come down. There'll be plenty of knowledgeable guys here to come and talk to and have a couple of drinks with. And
we want everyone to come down. All the guys on Twitter, all the Melbourne guys, the Baron, Tommy Gilmore,
all those
people. We'll get there's blokes who've said to me,
Benicio, what's his Twitter handle? Jumping?
Interesting question. I'll have to go and look that
up. All those guys.
Could be.
What time to start? From what time?
We'll be here about 2:30 onwards.
So get here about 6:30 when Dan's had about 3 litres of good claret.
Rexy, I know it's cutting into family time there, Rexy, but if you can, you can get away.
We'll give them 3 weeks' notice. Get your leave passes in. I've already
4 litres.
Notified mine.
And I sort of picked that weekend because there's only 2 games of AFL, and they're on the Friday and Saturday night, and it's Coleraine Cup Day and a meeting at Geelong, so it's not a huge day. So just everyone's welcome. Come down.
Even the blokes, bloody Snowy or Phil, grab Richard Irvine, jump on a plane, get down here.
Come down.
Richard Irvine, we'd put him on a pedestal if he turned up.
I'll tell you what, there's one thing, if Richie does decide to come down, you won't be buying a drink, Rich. I can guarantee you that now.
I might get a few old heads here, get Splinter here.
You will, I've already had
requests. Try and Bobby Dusting.
Yeah,
just try and make a big gathering. It's the middle of Spring Carnival, it should be good.
Just let someone slip through that I just want to address. You said you put in for a leave pass. How do you go about putting in for a leave pass when you go to lunch? What's the conversation actually? How do you actually address it?
I said I'm having a drink on the 25th. That was it.
That's it.
That's all right. 3 weeks' notice, so there's no drama. As long as I say I'm going on a bender tomorrow.
Right, yeah, 3 weeks. Yeah.
I said you need to organise a babysitter, do that. That's all sweet.
And that's pretty much what we know, is it? Because if it's further than that, they've got changed plans.
Yeah,
just 3 weeks.
3 weeks. I thought it was.
That's just strong saying.
That's it.
Yeah.
So it's a notification. I'm not asking permission.
No, I'm just common courtesy. I'm in the same boat.
Change your tactics.
Significant change of tactics.
So I noticed the city meeting. I don't think it affected particularly that much. The percentages came down, and the top fluck was around the percentages that we used to expect from top fluck. So and especially once the minimum bet rule comes in, I reckon that will even out a bit, and you'll still be able to get your top fluck on a Saturday meeting. But there were some wild flucks on the first 2 days. There were 4 races at Pakenham on Thursday where they bet under 100, and the best one I've seen was one of the races at Bendigo on Friday where the top fluck was 80%. After they backed one of Weirs from $3.80 into $1.80.
Right. Well, that's it.
And then it started at about $5, didn't it? In the end. The chaser you're talking about, or whatever it's called.
But it was kicking in from about half an hour. When's it kicking in from? That's the thing.
It kicked in from half an hour, and Racing Victoria they've already told me that that's going to change.
But I'm saying that also opened
minutes.
up on the VOP at about evens or something.
Yeah.
And then a couple of others were back drastically, and it was out. So it was.
That's what we've got in these liquid markets where there's some real swings and roundabouts.
So what I've noticed in the week that I've been, I haven't looked, it's early days, but the VOP is more consistent with the Sydney flux that have been there for years than the old Melbourne on-course flux, where I would say there could have been some collusion, who knows, but in Sydney for a long time, the big teams have been running the on-course bookmakers around in circles, and I'd say the corporates got a very large taste of it last week. They had rings run around them by the big teams.
Can I address one other thing though with Betfair?
So can I say the pattern is the first shortener is nearly always just get the other ones to move.
Yeah.
That's your pony teaser, isn't it?
Yeah.
and then
He's a pony. Yeah.
it's usually the third,
It's offer.
the third shortener. That's the real one.
Yeah.
It's usually what it is. So.
Well, you just see 4 places. Now, so with Betfair, if I can address it maybe a different way. So I understand what's part of the pricing pre-race or for top flight. But shouldn't, if we're genuine about giving the correct information going forward, right, as opposed to on the day, shouldn't that be in form guides, well, 8s to 10s back in the 7s or whatever, Betfair, flux for this, wouldn't it be good, wouldn't that be extra information for going back when you're doing your form to say, well, that's how we can trust it? Because
Well, then you're adding commission and things like that, so it's not a real
That's
price.
one
And
thing that changes
You know,
it.
it's $6 less, you're 6% or 5% or whatever you're taking, so you're really only taking $5.50 in the food.
And the other thing with it is, Ralph, Betfair charge for that information
And
by their
thing
API
with-
products.
they should be paying for that information so that more people in racing.
I don't disagree with you, but that'd be
The
one
only
of
thing
the
that
reasons.
matters on Betfair really is the volume traded at a price. So unless you can match the volume traded with the price, it means
That'd
nothing.
be
You know
good
what I mean?
information
So,
out
yeah.
there.
That's what I'm saying. The
Yeah.
information's there.
They charge for
It'd
that,
be
yeah,
good.
if you want to get that.
We'll go into a bit more depth here. DK, Gift of Music, he's a horse that you bought and you put a few blokes into, and the project's really sort of hitting its straps, and just shows what you can do if you put some time and effort in, and you pick one out and you place him down there with the Burks at Geelong. They've done a great job, and he was really strong there the other day.
Oh, it was really good. It was a really special day on Tuesday. I took
Geelong?
took the family down, so the wife and the kids, mum and dad came down, dad's in the horse, wife's in the horse. And a bit of low expectation, he's coming off the bad one, but back in distance and a freshen up, so to see him win was just really, really pleasing, you know. I mean, there was a lot of pressure the first time he won, we were really desperate for him to win, get some money, you know. I just tipped everyone into the horse, but
How many's everyone?
Dad, Pete, Paddy Bet,
Hello, Paddy.
Paddy's
Friend of the show.
around.
Go to
My wife, my brother, I think it was about four or five of us. But he was a horse, so I found him before we went to the races.
Yep.
And he led one at trial, and it wasn't on racing.com, but I had a copy of it,
Yep.
my stuff. And then I also saw him do that at the jump outs, lead and win easy.
Yep.
Then he went to the races and never performed, but there was sort of a bit of a pattern with that stable.
Yep.
They trialled great and then started going backwards at the races. So anyway, then he was up for sale, so it was funny, I sent him down thinking who am I going to send him to? I was going to send him to Warrnambool,
Yep.
to Mitch Freeman or Dan Bone or something.
Yep.
I was sort of a bit far away, I wouldn't mind being close to me horse so I can go and see him. So then Geelong, so then I thought, the Burks, and got in touch with Justin Burke, who's Kelvin's son.
And a good man.
Good man, so it was all good.
Friend of the show, isn't he?
He is a friend of the
So
show. so
I'm
we've got
thinking,
plenty of friends.
we'll get this horse back to what he did in those jump outs and trials, you know, lead by 3 and just keep running, improve him a little bit. So I go down and watch the first jump out down there, and he had one in the jump out before Kelvin, and he said to Rob Hull something, he said, I just follow him around. You know, there's an old horse who'd won 6 races, he said he's got 2 months to go. So he just followed him around out in the back, and again he jumps on Gift of Music, and he said, what am I doing on this, Kelvin? He said, less than what you're doing on that one. Okay. So he goes there, just follows him around, sits 3 lengths off the second last horse and gets beaten about 6 lengths off the second last horse. I'm thinking, this is big, I expect he got a fast horse here, I want him to be out the front, you know, winning things like that. So he's been obviously trained very differently than how he was trained before, but he's trained to have a back end in his race, and he showed that on Tuesday, you know, where he produced a back end to his race, which was really pleasing.
It is,
you know?
just on that point, you remind me of something that, so I had some, don't guess because you might get the horse, so don't guess, but I had some dialogue recently where I've criticised the jockey on Twitter, as you do, as I do, in going back and all that, and the stable sent me a direct message, and I said, well, yeah, a bit hard on the jockey, and I said, well, I was on the best horse in the race, you trained the best horse in the race, it's missed the place through your tactics. And ultimately the jockey's responsible. We go, oh yeah, we'll teach you to settle. Now, and we're just bantering, so there's no rivalry. But it actually is a good, what you've just reminded me of. The reality is, as punters, we worry about now.
Yeah.
And that's what we have to do.
Yeah, we have to.
Stables do teach them. And your job, and we'll get to the fee and still call the fee.
Dado Gentile.
Dado Gentile.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show, Dado. Like with the United States on Saturday, I think it was rated to its best, but it was fair enough that Team Williams.
Yeah, that wasn't its grand final.
Correct, and the same kind of thing. So I think as a punter, your challenge as a punter is to say, what's the stable intending to do here? providing it's legitimate, and that's totally legitimate. They're
Well, it's
teaching it.
been really educated, not educated, but so I get on the format, I'm a punter, I know the horses, and
Come in,
hang on, Isaac. It's all right, mate, yeah, it's all right. And so I do the form, so I get there, and I'm thinking, what do I tell J Mott the other day? And said, Kelvin, what do we say? Just leave it to J Mott, just leave it to him, you know.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. So I want my horses up there, and horses up the front with most of the races. So Jamie said, oh, all right, probably off midfield, you know. And then we saw the benefits of that, and leaving it to the jockey, and don't overcomplicate it. Let him think.
Well, the best thing about that win, DK, is he did everything you'd want to see to improve next run. He's almost certain to whatever his rating is, so whether he gets into the right race or not to win it. But he almost certainly will improve his rating in his next run.
Yeah.
It was a perfect platform.
It was, yeah. It was a slow pace. And
So tell me,
through the line, beautiful through the line.
like we're full on with what we do. I promise you, if you won Taslotto, I wouldn't buy any more horse. It's just no interest in me whatsoever. And maybe because I've been a racing manager and I've been in syndicates and all that, I just want to do what I'm doing and then just chill out. Tell us about your enjoyment in it, because you're full time as well, but you obviously get a buzz out of it.
yeah, massive. It's just because it's in the blood, and my grandfather, my father, and sort of special's the first sort of. Oh look, Dad wasn't there when he won his made, but to own it with Dad, you know, and have Isaac there. But there was a photo on the wall at home when I was a kid, 1977. Dad and his mates had a horse called Punters, and there's a photo of it winning a colic, and Dad holding me as a 3 or 4 year old in the winning photo. You know, so it just stems from that. And then every time I just get a huge buzz. I mean, because of the highs and lows. I mean, there's so much disappointment. Before he won the first time at Geelong, I'd spit a luck with a horse called Nine Wives with Peter Morgan, and after that he broke down after a Launceston.
That's Isaac, by the way. That's what I thought it was Dickie Need. The way I was framed there.
Yeah, and then I tried breeding, and foals die, and you know, and horses break down, and it's just you just sort of give this the arse, you know. But and then you have a winner, and all that disappointment and everything just makes it all worthwhile.
So you're saying if I got into a horse instead of private schools, I might actually enjoy life a bit.
I said to the missus I said to the missus, it's like winning a grand final.
Yeah.
The only way you can correlate the feeling is the euphoria when I won grand finals as a junior and senior and everything.
Cheryl won grand finals?
She doesn't know. She doesn't know. She's like just people live normal lives. They don't get that massive euphoric, orgasmic feeling.
Yeah.
You know that you get out of an achievement. So.
And what DK also failed to mention about Tuesday was it was his birthday too, so he got one of the best birthday presents you could ever stop
very
too.
special winning on your birthday.
All at the mud crab on the way out.
All at the mud crab.
Outstanding.
So can I just say, for those that didn't see any of Geelong there last Tuesday, Kelvin Burke's, I mean, it's not someone I've met, but I've seen him occasionally, doesn't really like being interviewed after the races.
He's pretty
he's
dry.
very dry and low-key and everything else. And at one stage, the interviewer said, I can't think who did the interview, said, sounds like there was some excitement up in the grandstand. Kelvin goes, yeah, the owner tends to wear his heart on his sleeve.
It carries on a bit.
Far too.
Which I thought was outstanding.
Would you be excited with owning? Because I wouldn't.
Well, yeah, absolutely. If you were in a good horse, yes, I think you would. I mean, I've had shares in a few horses, and I didn't find it a particularly enjoyable experience, to be honest. I think the problem with me was I sort of was a fringe dweller. It was a group of other guys that sort of they were looking for extras, and I went, okay, I'll take a share. Sort of, I didn't really know them all that well. It'd be different if it was like the situation you're describing, DK, where it was your family and friends and or really good mates or whatever. Yeah. And we had Rexy on a while ago, and he talked about it.
Yeah, that was best mates. Stories,
And I think it would be different to backing a winner. It'd be an amazing thing, but yeah, it's all, you know. It's, as you said, it's a roller coaster ride.
Having said that, I mean,
it's a roller coaster ride, yeah, and the highs and lows.
Some of my best highs were involved with when I was a kid. At 18, I took a horse called Testimony. Colin Little used to train in Adelaide, one of McKay Stakes, and as a strapper, I honestly couldn't throw the ground walking. And then when I was racing manager for a friend, as you know, and Sumione won the Australian Cup. That was such a big buzz. But I suppose, you know, you get different part of your life and different things that tick a box at different stages, isn't it? But to me, I get that thrill if I get the race right as opposed to tipping into one.
Well,
what about you, Juppy?
I've just bought into a jumper with another friend of the show, Craig Knott. He's put me in. He put me in touch with Rodney Ray, who was.
Is he in a harness?
Craig is, yeah. So he just put me in touch.
Jumping harness horses?
No. He just put me in touch with Rodney Ray.
Oh, sorry.
So who he plays cricket with, and like being a lover of jumpers, probably couldn't pick a better bloke to get involved with than Rodney Ray, who's the president of the association. But like I've been with the boys. A couple of my mates have a share of Terra Vista and Ball of Muscle and Tiger Tees. And like I was there on that Emirates Stakes Day at Flemington with them when Tiger Tees won the Darley and Ball of Muscle won in Sydney the same day. Like that's like, and I've been to the races and like you guys, like frightened to think how many times I've been to the races. That's singly the best day I've had in the races. And when you think about it, what about our man MT with Happy Clapper?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, like blokes like him, like.
Well, I'm sure that's a lot. I'd love. Well, hopefully MT will be down here over the spring. I was talking to him in the chat room on Saturday, and if he is down here with Happy Clapper over the spring, we might have to get him on the.
Just had a bit of an iPad explosion here.
We might have to get him MT on the show to have a chat about all things racing, but particularly about Happy Clapper, because I'm sure that's a long journey. From what I understand, his family have been breeding horses for decades, and he's probably had the mare's mother, the granddam, right back through the bloodlines, and they've probably been spent 30 or 40 years trying to get a good horse, and they finally got one. So I mean, anyone that's been through that sort of situation, good on them, I'd say.
I forgot, there was a break-even situation with one of your best mates, Shane Crawford Racing Syndications. Were you in the one that became a wobbler?
Oh, I don't know.
I was.
Were you?
I got into that one, and
he spent $500,000 on 2 horses.
He's another friend of the show. Hello, Crawford.
We'll be here on the 25th.
Well, we got the phone call 6 months in that it's a wobbler, and this is in the morning, and we had to wait that whole day because apparently wobbler 2, you can't race, but you can't get your insurance. And wobbler 4, you get the result. So it was like a day wait to get the result for the insurance claim back, which is the terrible thing for the animal activists out there who aren't a friend of the show. But that was the reality. We had to wait for a day to see if we got the insurance coin back. So that was.
And you did. It was a 4. Yeah. Oh right. Well done.
Boys, I put out a tweet before saying we were going to do the show today, and we've had quite a few questions come in from some really sharp guys along the way, so we'll chip through a few of these. The first one comes from friend of the show, Tom Gilmore. Boys, the Bandit's gone enormously resuming. Panel's opinion, please.
Well, we probably cover my reasons behind saying this when we get to the Moonee Valley review in part 2. But I mean, he's gone well. Like he's gone really nicely. But I think he had an advantage that possibly made the run look a little bit better than what it was.
I think it was run to suit.
Maybe it's both.
And he's come along the rail. He hasn't covered any extra ground or anything. But nice way to
I think that rail lane, if you were strong late, was worth a couple of lengths. Well, at least a length anyway.
Maybe at this time of year, I reckon this is one of the hardest things at this time of year, is that you can be right on both counts. One, he's gone well. Yeah. 2, he had everything in his favour. That doesn't mean you can't do that.
No, absolutely.
And that's the art of this time of year.
Tom, you've found a horse that's well worth following. Absolutely.
I'm a fan.
We know he can get out to a distance. So before we go to the next question, Juppy, so I don't forget, I'm tweeting in a question for DK.
I've got it written down here.
Yeah, but I just want to. All of a sudden, DK, just sort of almost out of nowhere, and it probably come into your realm before it's come onto my radar. Trent Buston seems to be bobbing up everywhere, wallback horses and running where another one of the Cranbourne.
Yeah, well, they're all coming out of the Cranbourne jump outs, which is fantastic. Yeah. But he came here this time last year, and it all turned to shit.
Right.
They were all legless, went terrible. They're all getting beaten at short odds, and he just went home. Complete tail between his legs.
Yeah.
Right, they all went home, packed up even all their good horses, just all went shit house back home. I think they've come back this year and they've learned a lot. I don't know when it was, but it was shambolic.
No, I'll tell you why.
I think I tweeted about how legless they were.
Yeah.
And so he come back this year and bought, I think he's learned from it, knows the quality of horse to bring, what condition to bring him in, and when he's kicking them off in maidens and things. And,
I did a Cox Plate room with him where he came in just having a chat, and he actually went through like about all the disasters that happen in life.
Yeah.
And sometimes that can happen, and so we observing can say, geez, this bloke's not getting it right. But let's face it, it's not beyond the realms of possibility that 8 horses can go on this.
So
how many horses has he got?
They're kicking them all off in maidens. They're nearly all maidens.
Is that what's the start sale?
He's got 2 rounds tomorrow.
He had a Group 1 place horse win at Pakenham, the Elsa Serio.
Oh, yeah.
And then he had the thing yesterday.
Is that thing that's got on sale on debut, ran 3rd, ran a huge third cover?
He got beat yesterday.
Did it? Anyone we know on it?
No, I didn't lay it on.
Right.
Cured of laying it on the. I know I'm
Is that the
not.
one about Melbourne or something? Anaheim or something?
Anaheim, yeah.
Well, so he's got 2 in tomorrow. He's got an unbeaten one, and it'd be lovely because it's trialled once publicly, which was a very poor trial. Apparently, he jumped out again last Friday or Thursday at Cranbourne. I've watched all of them, and I can't. It's a very plainly marked horse, so it's hard to no colours. So who knows which
Did
one?
I see Cranbourne's got a new website apparently?
Well, the YouTube channel's great. You can watch all the trials, but you don't know which horse is which. So it doesn't help. So
Fuck's sake.
so do you know how many horses he's got, DK? There seems to be.
Oh no, I don't know, but I think he's brought off a fair team. Actually, has he moved up? Have they moved
Yeah,
over?
that's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
The reason why I think it's been set up this way, and the reason why they've sort of hit the ground running spots is he had a big clean out over there and only brought, I think it was either 8, 10 or 12, like it was a real select group of what he thought were the best horses in the stable from New Zealand. He's brought them here and they're setting up base, and I don't think they've started actually racing the horses until they knew that they could hit the ground running to build the business up.
He's being well placed too.
Yeah.
Like he did take one to Wodonga, so I think he's kicking them off at sale and that. So the one Wodonga was in a really winnable race.
Yeah.
Had no trial or nothing. Did trial, but trial okay. MZR on it, not killed. Well, it might be a bit limited enough as up here. I was tempted to back it. Well, got B. Went okay, but got B.
So if we now talk about Henry Dwyer, we're exactly the same format as Racing.com?
What do I say? Well, when there's a new player in the market, Ralphie, I think we all need to try and get a handle on it as soon as possible. So,
well, they're
I
all
would
fit.
say,
They're
talking
fit,
about-
they're fit when they go to the races. They are fit.
interesting because what sort of one of the things that really got my attention was Tavago turns up there. One of DK's favourite terms, the robot malfunction. Tavago turns up there on Saturday, first up in that race after scratched at the barrier or scratched. Anyway, it was scratched last start. Yeah, it didn't run. And, I think $41 might have been bet. It started between $6 and $7 across the toes.
Now, could you please explain that one? Like,
Robot
we're going to get
malfunction, yeah.
well, we're going to get into Mooney Valley, but let's, because you brought it up, we'll talk about Trent Busted. Sometimes you got a handle on something, sometimes you got no handle on it. But I'm looking at that, the big, and I'm going, this one at Derby at 30 to 1, when it was the only horse in the AJC Derby that had any New Zealand 2400 race. It was rock hard fit, and everything else was out the back and silly.
I remember
what was
that.
it? Tarzino over-raced.
Yeah.
It just had to do itself, and it was 30 to 1 for a reason. How it was truckloaded and why it was truckloaded, it's just got to be beaten. I mean, either it's a new horse or they just got it totally wrong.
Well, they get a big. Sometimes they back them off those numbers, or you can get them.
Yeah.
Remember when they had Melbourne Cup horses resuming and things like the Protectionist? Remember when Protectionist resumed off his Melbourne Cup win first up last year, whatever it was, and he ran 7 to 4 or something. All you guys
St.
said,
George.
fucking leave us out. And the robot said, well, he's won a Melbourne Cup or something. And
This is his previous rating. We can bring it back to here and
I
work
can
off
tell
it.
you, me and Big Trev spent 5 or 10 minutes after the race here, so they tried to work it out. Just couldn't, couldn't find any way.
So do you reckon the robots don't look at the starting price?
What do you mean? Where?
No, as in, so it was 30 to 1 in the AJC Derby. To me, that's significant. He was 30 to 1 for a reason.
But to be factored in, it's just where it's
They
weighted.
just must have some sort of.
There's 100, there's 200 factors.
There's all sorts of things that go into it.
200 factors, so that's one of them.
We've got another question in from at Right Hand Bat. Jay, he's a very
He's
good
right.
man. No, I know of him. He's a very good man. Anything from provincials, boys, that could possibly measure up in the guineas?
Yeah, this is my department. I'm thinking Guineas. It's probably a bit laid down with Sydney dependent. But the only one I think is the horse is in tomorrow. The Hawks horse into orbit.
Okay.
He went particularly well. Went like a rocket. So he's in there tomorrow. Now if he goes like a rocket again, he could be Guineas bound.
So I mean, it'd be odds on there tomorrow, and he's coming off the synthetic.
It's off the synthetic. But he went around 2s on. Now he's obviously shown him something on the turf at Flemington in his work and his jump outs to be 2s on. He would have gone around 2s on if it was on turf. So yes, look, and the other one was El Cesario, which was the other horse. But I'm thinking more for that question. I think more coming out of provincials is the Derby and Oaks horses.
Yeah.
Go down the track. So for Oaks, Harlow Gold.
Yeah.
The one last week at Pakenham. She's just savaged the line twice now and just a real
That was written for cover sale, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was 1100.
So. Yeah.
It was 1100. It was up in distance, 1400 inside barrier. And
all important cover.
for the Oaks, and Exo Set, who was Freedman's who won on Sunday.
Yeah.
She's a real line finder as well. And D Dunn said he just off the bit the whole way and just strong weight. So, 2,000 plus. And for the Derby, Land of Plenty, which won their big prizes on Sunday. Craven Image, who won at the midweek at Sandown by 4 lengths, the Weir horse. And I think it went to Mildura of Tony McAvoy's Silvera. Just powered to the line. It was ridden like a good thing. And D Thornton got off and said this is going to the spring in Melbourne in the spring. So maybe there are a few to keep an eye out for the longer races.
Because one thing, particularly for interstate, what's the 3 best tracks to see these type of horses? I reckon I would say Sale, Geelong, Bendigo would be where good stables target these type of horses to kick it off from now. Would that be fair? Yep. Trifecta?
Well, Seymour used to also have a bit of that. And as
it's going to be sensational at New Seymour track. Have you seen some photos of it?
Yeah, as long as they leave it alone.
Which is no good to us. No, it's probably going to get fairer. But it looks magnificent.
We don't want fair.
And one other track that we should throw in there was a meeting there yesterday, DK, we were talking about it just before we started. Benalla, there's some good horses that have been thrown in there. Euroa, of course, for the Hayes-Dabeneeg team. They're just around the corner, so they tend to kick off a lot of it.
Fair track. They like going fair tracks.
Well, the past 2 years you've had He's Our Rocky started Penella, and the year before did Little Engine. So Penella's often a kick-off at this time of year.
So here's also, I don't even know how old it is. I haven't even watched the video of this race. All I did was I was doing some review work this morning, and I did this meeting, and the time just jumped out at me. So I thought, perfect, I'll ask DK about this. You'll be able to tell me everything I need to know. At Bendigo last Friday, DK, a horse called In Contempt.
Yeah.
What can you tell me about? Who's got it?
Darren Weir.
It's a Weir.
So I was first at Chuka last, Monday week ago. First start, Weir was there on a Monday. They got him on before the race, 2 in the race. It drew barrier 13 with Jack Hill. He had Yendel on the other thing, drawn in. And he said, "Oh, this is going forward." Going forward. He's going to, which very rare for a Weir first start, wide barrier. So this has got talent. So he went forward and caught wide. Jack Hill worked on it. I went with a Hayes thing who had, it was a nice, come out of a nice trial. And they went super. The race on my stuff went terrific. It cleared out.
Is this the race I mentioned on last week's show?
Yendel chased him home on it. Yendel chased him home on the other green thing.
The other Weir runner.
And there was 6 lengths to 4th or something like that. 7 lengths to 4th.
They cleared right out,
I made that a horse to follow on last week's show, and I didn't back up myself.
In Contempt. Come on, Potts.
Going well here.
So he's gone that race with D Lane, inside barrier. So we just
download
this 220 to 1 to rate. I just said got 50, got 60.
Right.
And he won like a good horse. Second, something chased him home, which went well too.
Okay.
Yeah, no, so he's a nice horse. Yeah, he could measure up.
So at Bendigo, he had early use of the track, but he ran fairly comparable time to Am Australia, who's come back really well. And he's flying. So all the form around Am Australia, simply
invincible. Oh, that's some nice live viewing for punters at Wodonga last Monday. In the meet, so barrier 1, so I marked it about 3s on, so barrier 1, so it doesn't matter, I'll hold the front, that's okay. So I laid it on, So Morgan gets on before, through 1. Morgan says, it's probably lead on it, but I said, if you don't lead, you can take a sip. I said, oh really? So then R. Beatty on a 300 to 1 chance just comes charging out of the gates. So Linda saw it kicking up and said, I'll let it cross. And P. Maloney came across and said, put you in the box. Thanks very much.
I'll keep you there.
It was just a horror show.
You should tell Dan, there's a bloke on Twitter called WinBet Dan who tells people avoid low draws.
Yeah, low draws, that's right. The boys
you should listen to him. He's a good bloke with it.
Yeah, no, I owned up to it. I said to Matt Welsh and Tommy Gilmore on Twitter the other day, I said I tumbled in on Monday and copped my right whack.
I'm still not ready to own up on Vostok. I don't know who I'm dirty on more, myself, other people, whatever. Anyway.
And we've got a couple of other questions here that we'll whip through. John Surtees from Sportsbet.
You come?
Mike, please go, because I'm driving.
You're getting
would you rather eat poo that tastes like chocolate or chocolate that tastes like poo? He said you said send in any questions. So
what's the next one there, John?
Well, I eat meal replacement bars, and so we all know my thoughts on it.
Even for YouTube, I reckon that's it.
And from another friend of the show, Phil Moyes, he took in, do you guys think the change of tactic rule is policed correctly? What do you think the fine should be before not notifying?
Let me make it nice and simple.
Monkey. It's 300 at the moment. I reckon they're going to put up to a monkey.
Well, can we put that 200 back into prize money?
300 is not enough.
Oh, no, I've worked on this. This is really complicated. What about we added word to the change of tactics rule. Significant change of tactics. So if you're a midfielder and you jump well and you want to lead, if you don't jump well, you go back, and we don't have to worry about any of that bullshit that people speak about, and it doesn't head fuck us as punters when we hear about it. But if you're going to be trying to ride some line quietly or go forward on who begot you,
or the cleaner's going to sit last.
Can I say to Phil, and Phil, I know he blues about a lot of maidens who change the tactics, and Phil, I've got my header, I used to drive me insane and used to get the stewards to look at and everything, but with lightly raced horses, drawing in, drawing out, different tracks, different distances, first 3 or 4 starts, they're going forward, they're going back, they're trialling different things, they miss the start, they jump well. So I think with the lightly raced horses particularly, you can't be hard and fast on your back.
If we just say significant change in tactics, because as you say, you've had one start in the midfield, what is your pattern? You don't know.
Yeah.
Well, my thoughts on the subject are that the change of tactics thing doesn't really work, and that jockeys should be responsible for giving every horse they ride every possible chance to win the race. If they don't give the horse every chance, if they ride a horse with clearly in a situation where they gave the horse no chance of winning, they should get time. Simple as that.
That's crazy.
And significant time.
They should
So,
test the feed.
I reckon jockeys should be terrified of the situation where they've dragged one back to last, knowing full well that means that they can't win the race. So I think the whole thing at the moment is wrong.
Raspberry there?
No, ask a little bit. Was that you another drink?
And one last one, boys, from Mug Punts 1. Mug Punter, he tweeted in the last time asking about the upcoming 3-year-olds, where we mentioned Flying Artie and a couple of others. Since I asked about the 3-year-olds last week, who are the best 4-year-olds still racing, brackets not at stud, in Victoria?
Who's our Rocky? Group 1 winner.
Well, how do I answer your question, but I want to answer your question because you've been so kind to write in with one. Well, I might regret this, but anyway, I think the 4-year-olds en masse, generally speaking, are pretty ordinary. Their ordinariness is only matched by the older horses. The 3-year-olds are average to above average, and they are winning everything outright. So
I can't disagree with that.
they started as 2-year-olds before August. They were going in maidens and beating the older horses, which is very unusual. And ever since, particularly the Hay stable has been nailing it, putting 3-year-olds in 64s and 58s and maidens and all sorts, and they're just winning them. So I would think this is a very good year to target a 3-year-old at weight for age races. That phenomenon I'm talking to hasn't filtered through to metro racing quite yet. It's starting at the midweeks. It hasn't happened in Saturday races. I don't know if we've seen a 3-year-old in the Saturday race yet, but as soon as they do, they'll be hard to beat.
Just one more thing to wrap up, boys.
I'll give you an example. Tomorrow there's perfectly safe in an older horse race tomorrow. It'll go around 6-4 or something because Zelko's team will love it. They've been absolutely backing them off the map. Like all the 3-year-olds, like Clockwork Orange, you know, gets the older horses. Off a maiden, goes into a 64 or whatever it was, and Zelko's team just gets out the sledgehammer. So, there you go.
One last thing before we wrap up. Ralphie, you've got a lunch coming up at Crown Casino on Friday the 16th with Vince, where you're going to talk us through
It's a racing form lunch.
Yep.
If you think you're a bit of a riff-raff, don't come. We want decent people only. No.
Does that mean I'm not allowed to come?
You can get through the keeper. They're pots to worry about. No. We're going to explain racing to you and what we've been able to do. We've refined it since Dan went to the first one.
Yep.
Which was very much appreciated, and just keep refining what we do. We try and make it like a boardroom feel. There's only 20 or 30 people coming. What I've really got a lot of satisfaction out of is not just from return business, but more the point, people these boys level or people who are first timers, they bring. I hate to say it this way, but they might bring their wife or partner or something, and then they only bet during the Spring Carnival and they get something out of it.
Yep.
So we try and make it for anything. Anyway, it's just about wagering. We don't talk about cobalt and breeders' bonuses. Nothing about it. It's just about how to make racing more interesting for you if you like doing form.
And again, it's a gathering of like-minded people who are pretty serious about it, which we sit at home in our bunkers or people off doing things, but to get together, have a drink, learn something, and it's
good food and a good joint.
Yep.
That's what we do.
However, you will require a leave pass.
Yeah, and you only got 10 days.
You only got 10 days.
That's 3 weeks.
10 days is probably still enough.
it just scrapes in.
It's a Friday afternoon.
I reckon go down to 1 day.
Just duck off work, have half day. Tell your wife you've gone to work.
Yeah, I'll start telling boopers.
That'll do us for part 1.
territory.
We'll be back with a review of Meaty Valley in part 2.